I want to talk about how you can take the teachings from the animal teachers and apply them to your life and use a mnemonic that I'm going to teach you really quickly in about 5 minutes, because this dog can learn in 5 minutes. This is usually a 1-week seminar. And how you can take that and find the questions to ask the animals. And I use 2 animals to describe this mnemonic: cat, C-A-T, and fawn, F-A-W-N. And I refer to this as the cat-fawn connection. And if you get, whenever you have any history that you're studying in a classroom, or any cultural issues, or any personal relationship problems, or you have conflict resolution issues that you need to deal with, if you briefly go into the cat-fawn with your students or with yourselves, I think you'll find a tremendous power. So here it is in brief. Hold on now, this is going to be a roller coaster ride. But I'll be around for 2 days for talking privately about it. Okay. And Jack, by the way, is one of my heroes from my educational heroes. We were talking earlier about meditation and hypnosis. CAT is a form of that. I call it concentration-activated transformation. So that deals with the second part of our title. Concentration. Now, indigenous people understood that there are certain levels of awareness that make you receptive to the teachings of animals. Okay? All right. Now, whether or not you're receptive to the teachings of animals in a transformative way, positively, in a constructive way, depends on the fawn. F-A-W-N. Okay? And by the way, this came to me in a near-death experience in Mexico that I talk about in Primal Awareness, where a mountain lion walked over my sleeping bag while in a cave, and I saw a powerful monarch carrying a fawn that had run down with bleeding legs. And those 2 animals turned into letters. And it's a long story we don't have time to go into, but the animals were the teachers of this teaching. Okay, fawn. Fear, authority, words, and nature. Western culture and fear, everybody out there think about this. Fear is something that most people that have grown up in Canada or the United States want to avoid at all costs. We don't like fear. It doesn't smell or taste good. It doesn't feel good. When it comes, we do everything we can to dismiss it, to avoid it, to ignore it. Am I right? Not many people embrace it. Now, certainly, the first part of fear is strictly fight or flight, But after that, fear lingers in us. And that is a Western way of understanding fear. Most indigenous cultures see fear, after it's done the initial warning and you've made your decision, as an opportunity to practice one of the great virtues. It's an opportunity to practice generosity, an opportunity, in fact, the Lakota say the highest expression of courage is an act of generosity. That's why you've got a little boy, and he's got a favorite puppy, and he loves his puppy to death. It's time for the father to come and say, son, do you think it's time to give your puppy away to a friend? You don't think that takes courage? You say you learn this early on. At Pine Ridge, I had a student teacher who went in, and she had a non-Indian teacher teaching Lakota children, that because of no Child Left Behind, which is a law in the United States that counts attendance, whoever attends those classes will get this big Hershey's chocolate bar. It's like this big. And so the only girl that had some affluent parents on Pine Ridge won, because the other children didn't have to stay home and take care of the siblings in this school. And so I was at the class observing my student teacher when this teacher announced the winner and said, this girl is a model. She was in both classes. And she came up, and what did she do immediately? She counted how many people were in the class and started breaking the chocolate apart. And she got in such trouble for that from the teacher, because the teacher said that wouldn't be motivational. So the courage, and generosity is everywhere, okay? So think about that. I could go on and on, but we've got to develop a spirit of fearlessness. I don't think I know anybody in my life who doesn't have something that they're really afraid of. And if there's anybody in this room, besides me, that is not afraid of anything, I want you to come up privately, because I just want to give you a big hug and I want to learn from you. But, you know, it doesn't have to be that way. We can develop a spirit of fearlessness. But it's cultivated in this culture, okay? That's why when you go through the airlines, you have to, go through all this frisking. It's not to really see if they can catch a bad guy. Are you kidding me? The bad guys can get through like this. It's to keep people in fear so that you make good robots. Next one is authority, and they tie together. Where does authority come from? In most Western traditions. From the teacher, from the preacher, from the peddler, from the book, from the external source, the policeman, etc., etc., etc. In indigenous cultures, the only true authority comes from honest reflection on lived experience. Honest reflection on lived experience. That takes courage. So you see, these things are inseparable. Okay?